Let's go live now to Sky US correspondent Michael Ware, who joins us. Michael, I know you've been looking on what's happening on the Gaza Strip and in Israel, and a little bit further north to Lebanon as well. What do you make of the current situation?
Well, look, obviously it's still very complex. There's certainly nothing clear about this conflict as it's in its 10th day and about to enter its 11th. But hopefully there's a chance right now that we're about to enter into the realm of the politics of ceasefire. We just don't know. These coming hours will tell us. Right now it's night time in the Middle East. And so we'll see what the Israeli air campaign is like in these hours. But certainly today, the American President Joe Biden called his Israeli counterpart, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And President Biden said that he expects to see a significant de-escalation on a path towards ceasefire by the end of today. That's what he told the Israeli leader. Now, Prime Minister Netanyahu domestically can't be seen to be caving in to the Americans. He has to maintain his role as a staunch defender of Israel and its citizens. However, the Prime Minister did say that he thanks the American president for his support of the defence of Israel, but Israel will continue until they secure the quiet. Prime Minister Netanyahu said that, when it comes to Hamas, you can either conquer them, which he said he's not taking off the table, and therefore occupy them, or you can deter them. And he said, right now, we're engaged in forceful deterrence. So is Israel currently undertaking a blitz of new targets that will further inflame the situation? Are rockets still flying as they have been? These next hours will tell us. Certainly, the IDF, the Israeli Defence Force, remains on the front foot. As they said today, they have a factory of targets, as they call it, that they've been developing for years. And they've just been waiting for an opportunity to exploit them. Well, they're now enjoying that opportunity.
Indeed. And
they say that they've destroyed at least.
You are seeing, Michael, as well, very close to a ground invasion this week. And there was an erroneous tweet, or perhaps it was on purpose, from the IDF saying that there was wording was almost suggesting that there was a ground incursion, but it really hasn't been necessary. And I think for the first time in maybe 2 decades, Israel has been more aggressive than it has been. And some have argued that it has needed to be. Explain the politics and what's going on at the moment, also Lebanon's involvement.
Yeah, well, let's address Lebanon first. There's a significant Palestinian refugee community in Lebanon living in terrible conditions for decades. And the rockets that have been fired towards Israel from Lebanon in the north are attributed to Palestinian groups there, and the Israelis hit back. But right now, that doesn't seem to be a significant element to this conflict. The real politics here comes down to local politics. Which side can go back to its people and declare that it was the victor? That's what, and when does either side feel that they can do that? I mean, certainly personally, Prime Minister Netanyahu has benefited from this conflict. We just had an Israeli election. He didn't win a majority. He had an opportunity to form a coalition government and failed. So the other side has currently had an opportunity to form a government, and they were on the road to doing so, and perhaps for the first time ever, including an Israeli Arab political party in that coalition. Well, as a result of this conflict, that's all fallen apart, it appears. And that's definitely to Prime Minister Netanyahu's benefit. The IDF, as we say, has been itching to exploit these targets. Well, they've had that opportunity. And with Hamas, despite the damage that's been done to their civilian infrastructure, their military infrastructure, and to their people. They could possibly now go back to their people and say, look, we've proven it. We are the true defenders of the Palestinians. And that certainly would embolden Hamas in terms of their political opposition inside the Palestinian community with the Palestinian Authority on the West Bank. So, you know, weirdly, there's a potential political win for both sides here.
Yeah, and look, Michael,
if
we
they
know
choose
from
to take
history
it, but
as well
let's
that they'll
wait.
both be going back to their own people and claiming victory, no matter what happens, because the propaganda or PR game on each side is very strong. But just quickly before I let you go, it's hard to get a solid read on the situation there. But when we talk about a ceasefire, do you think we'll see that by the end of the week?
Well, it's great that you asked that, because CNN International just put out a news alert. And, you know, it's hard to know how much faith to put in this, but they quote a Hamas official who says that a ceasefire is imminent, perhaps within the next 24 hours. Look, we all hope that's the case, but, you know, we're waiting literally for the dawn in the Middle East to tell us more.
Indeed, Michael. So good to get your insights on this. This is a part of the world that you know better more than most. We really appreciate your time. We'll speak soon.